This podcast features adults using adult language, so listener discretion is advised. The Legend of Zelda is property of Nintendo, while Dungeons & Dragons is property of Wizards of the Coast. We are sponsored by neither, and this is a homebrew game played for fun by folks who are fans of both. But now, without further ado, let us continue tales of danger, determination and adventure in Hyrule Chronicles. Hello everyone! Welcome to Hyrule Chronicles episode 9. Is it 9?
9!
9!
Ik bedoel, ja!
So yes,
The actual word you're looking for is 9. You just said no. Episode no!
Episode no! I am the GM ArticulateT, and joining me as always I have SteveTheSeregios playing Sho Daius.
What's up?
I have TheNetherlad playing Renji Vox, son of Nihilus Vox.
What's up?
I have Alvarance playing Hikan.
I still think I could have reflected that boulder.
I have playing Ziden Shari, Robo Pirate.
Hello there.
And finally playing Max, I have Keastreth.
Hi.
Hi. So, who would like to do a recap of what happened in the fuck ton of stuff that happened last time? Apparently. We went on for a while.
Yeah, quite a while happened. We have figured out the death of Marcus Whitestone was caused by someone who has sinister plans for the nobility, specifically death. We also, after bringing the spirit of Marcus to Paul, the proprietor of the pet shop, have them express their feelings for one another, and as such, the spirit of Marcus Whitestone was given the rest that he deserved. After that, our band of intrepid adventurers went out into the wild to find and fight off a group of bandits, one of which was considered to be very, very strong. We fought the bandits, and the bandit captain turned out to be very, very strong because of a specific magical bracelet that would give him super strength and be able to throw boulders that our monk cannot deflect.
Unfortunately.
And
you can't palm a boulder the size of the Dongo.
You just need to be bigger and have a bigger palm.
Fucking hit the gym, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, we eventually knocked out the bandit captain. I think we knocked him out and not killed him, correct?
Correct.
And that is where we left off last time on Hyrule Chronicles.
Indeed. And so it is that the evening has kind of gone on a bit. There's bodies of lesser fortunate bandits lying about, and you have unconscious nearby the body of the bandit captain, who is kind of just face down in the dirt, and all of you have kind of surrounded him by this point, just
all looking down at this absolute physical marvel.
Is anyone going to tie him up?
We did tie him up.
I think, yeah, that's like how we ended it off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't see with my devil's sight.
Yeah, I think Max and I are looting bodies, and I know Hikan was pointing at Tyrina when Sho was like, "This is what these gloves do."
Yeah, pretty much. and Sho had, like, after like just being pointed, like, "You'll probably benefit from these the most," and hands them to Tyrina.
She kind of like looks them over and kind of weighs them in her hands a bit and says, "Well, I mean, I'm sure if you're giving them to me, but I mean, feel free to ask for them back if you want." And then she kind of just slides them on, like flexes a bit. They feel like consider most things are actually not as big as she would like them, so they're kind of a tight squeeze as she puts them on. And it's like, it's going to take some getting used to.
Well, you say that, but spend some time on them, and you won't be the thing that's getting used to the gloves. I think they'll do that for you.
Oh, well, sweet.
Magic. And Sho waves a hand.
Okay then. Awesome. I guess I'll, yeah. And she looks around and sees everything. It's like, do you guys want to set up camp, maybe?
I am in agreement.
Okay, I'm gonna go around and make sure the place is a little less corpsey. And just kind of goes off to to drag bodies off in different directions and just properly bury them.
That's fair.
I'll go help with that.
Sho is going to make sure that poor beefy bandit boy gets turned to a point where if he does, wake up, it won't be ass up in the air. Like the poor soul that he is right now.
Maybe have him rest against one of the boulders.
I was about to say, rest him up against one of the rock pits that he threw so he can think about his mistakes when he wakes up.
Indeed.
Okay. So you kind of drag this guy over. He's for lack of a better term, he's pretty ripped. Despite the gloves, he looks pretty beefy.
So his strength had gone from 18 to 19.
Or even worse, his strength had gone from 20 to 19.
No!
Deliberately took a handicap just so that he could suplex boulders at people.
Yeah.
And spiders.
He seems perfectly unarmed. Actually, I think we did an investigation check at the end of last session to see what the other bandits had on them, but we ended before we could get around to that. So,
let's do it now!
Let's do it now!
Do it live!
Let's see. If I have my notes here.
That's actually a terrible reference because we're not doing this live.
No, we're not.
Well, we're doing it live, but they don't know that.
It's live as far
And as such, we're not doing it live.
So, every bandit, which I think there was about 6 of them, had a light crossbow with about 20 bolts each. They each had a hand axe in order to complement their light crossbow. They all had leather armor designed for a medium-sized Hylian creature. So, Zora and Sheikah and stuff and Gerudo could probably get away with wearing it, but not something like a Lizalfos or a Goron. Then, I think, between them, they had somewhere in the region of 15 gold pieces and 7 silver pieces.
How many bolts in total for the crossbows?
Let's see.
If there were about 6 and they each had 20, that'd be 120.
Okay, I would take 60 of the bolts in one of the crossbows.
Okay.
Because I can actually use one of those.
Nice.
I think I would add 10 bolts to my own store.
Okay.
Hikan takes all of the money and gives everyone else 5 gold pieces and takes the 7 silver for himself.
Aww.
I'm a monk, I don't need money.
I'm gonna practice using the crossbow with all the spare bolts.
Okay.
Hit me!
Renji does stop Hikan from giving him gold. Hikan, I have plenty. No worries.
Suit yourself.
Sho goes about repurposing the bandits' camp into one that we can use for ourselves.
Okay. That's fine. There's it's pretty well made, all things considered, and the fighting didn't destroy it in any case. It was kind of off to the side, so for the most part, you're able to really easily sort things out.
With all of the fighting and flipping of boulders, is the actual pathway cleared now?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Otherwise, I was going to suggest to Tyrina when she's attuned to move the boulders out of the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he suplexed a boulder into us, which hit the other boulder, which made that boulder roll down and bury one of his friends.
Yep.
Indeed.
So yeah, after about an hour or so, Tyrina comes back, and you can see that the gauntlets now fit her far better. And she looks around and says, well, they're all buried as best as I can. Said a little prayer, as is appropriate. Where are we setting up?
Maybe up on the ridge.
Sho gestures to the camp that he has been making.
Okay, nice work. And heads on over and sits down next to the fire. You guys coming or what?
I'm already there.
I was talking.
I can go too.
Hikan is squatting on his heels staring at the bandit captain in case he wakes up and tries anything.
It's just...
Cheeky breaky in front of his face.
he seems thoroughly out cold.
Max comes over when he runs out of spear bolts. It's like, I like these crossbows.
I like it, I wanna go and take it.
As
Renji sits next to near the fire and pulls out a very old book and starts reading through it a bit.
Ziden will sit by a fire and curl up to meditate a bit.
Yeah. Tyrina kind of lies back and stares at the sky. It's a beautiful night, all things considered. There's not a cloud in the sky. You can see the full scape of stars that roll overhead. There's a nice chill breeze, not too cold, just enough to kind of remind you that it's nighttime and a bit colder. Almost refreshing in a sense. But the fire keeps you warm if you are chilly enough. The rest of the camp seems a bit sparse, all things considered. There's tents aplenty, yes, but it seems like the bandits themselves were running dry on their food and ale supplies before you guys turned up.
Good
Damn.
thing we brought supplies.
I shall meditate for a moment, switch one of my spell slots to good berries, and summon 10 good berries for everyone.
Okay. So the rest of you see Ziden kind of summon this this handful of these little round berries in his hands.
Part of me wants to go, can I make good berry ale?
Wouldn't it be good berry wine?
Good point.
No, it would be good berry juice. They're berries.
How many of
grapes.
us are there at this point?
They're not hops. Show literally just take one.
3, 4, 5.
Inhale.
Starts choking.
So as you eat the berry, you feel like there's a moment passes as it passes through your system, and then suddenly you just feel comfortably full. You feel refreshed and ready to go. It's almost as if you just had an appropriate meal.
An ite meal.
An ite meal that can sustain a creature for one day.
A very good meal.
Add it to the counter!
It wasn't me.
Add it to the counter. I want to add it to the counter.
It's added to the counter.
Jesus Christ, this thing is stacked.
It's stacked, yeah.
We haven't burnt this in like 4 weeks. I'm scared. Also, did you see my absolutely cracking car pun earlier?
Yes, I did see it. That's an added to the counter.
Now, for the people playing the home game, I had my driving practical test today. I sadly did not pass, but I did crack out an absolute fantastic pun. Wait, let me bring it up. No, this is fantastic. Shut up, I want it framed. This is the best. The neum is soon. Just neum responsibly. I will neum as I see fit, good sir. You'll have the Lord answer to I say, but safety is my number 1 priority. Ah! You had to be there. You had to.
So
I'm so disappointed in you.
Yeah.
So there's more pun damage
Max
for
isn't
all.
even dead.
Mm,
Oh dear.
I'm proud.
Yeah. So,
you had to be.
Hello,
yeah.
proud. I'm Dad.
Oh, fuck off.
Father's Day was yesterday. But yeah, you kind of situate yourselves around the fire. Hikan, you're watching this bandit captain with utmost vigilance, and you can kind of see that he's not moving. He's breathing, but he's not moving, partly due to his quite clearly broken face. And
I'd say healing, but I think this is a lesson that he should learn for himself. So when he wakes up, he'll know that this is the recompense for his actions.
so as you're lying there, Tyrina kind of just sits up and says, so, how are you guys finding this adventuring thing? Good, bad, fun, dangerous, scary, boring? What's up?
It keeps me off the street, I suppose.
I guess. What about the rest of you?
It is helpful to progress our objectives.
It's my job.
What are your objectives, though? Also, Renji is still looking at the book and not making eye contact.
To find Max's family.
At that, Renji does look up. Oh. That's too bad. Not knowing where they are, I mean.
Well, we have a token from his family, if you might recognize it.
I can give it a...
Ziden will nudge Max a bit.
Nah, it's just sleep.
Perhaps in the morning, then.
Fair enough.
Like, no, I do want.
Your token for him to look at.
Okay. That brings it up.
Well, with
It's a little silver bird.
Does Renji recognize any of this?
Make a history roll.
Ooh, history.
I'm going to take a peek too.
Okay, then let's see what the dice have in store for today. It's a 10.
I got a 17, however.
Okay. So, Renji, you look at this trinket, and you think to yourself, like, Hylian families have a lot of bird iconography, so it's kind of really, really difficult to pinpoint. Set in your time in the castle.
That's the wrong Sheikah.
Yeah, that's the wrong Sheikah. It's just that you got set plus Sho on your thing. So
Yes.
Sho, your time in the castle, having perused books and talked to Zelish and other members of the royal retinue, as it were, there are, as Renji kind of is right to assume, a lot of Hylian families, both high-ranking and low-ranking, use birds as part of their iconography because it's part of the royal family crest, all that kind of stuff. In regards to specifically a silver bird, especially a silver bird of this design, you feel like you've probably seen it in kind of like a census somewhere, a very old census, but other than that, recognition escapes you.
Yeah, I wouldn't have read those.
I'll have to do some digging, but I might be able to find more about this.
I just need to know that a life existed for me outside of what happened.
Any other details?
All I know it was taken about 17 years ago, give or take one.
I shall see that you'll find as many answers as you can. I can easily find the old censuses within the castle.
Thanks.
He returns the ring.
Max stuffs it under his cloak and then just goes back to sleep.
That's nice. Opening up a bit, that's great. It's good to get to know each other, I think.
You seem very eager to do so.
Well...
Some of us might not simply want to.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I don't want to pry at all, but, you know, if we're gonna be friends and everything, I'd rather be capable of, being as...
Holding a conversation.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
I mean, that's all well and good and all, but you do sound a lot like our castle physician at the moment.
So how does that make you feel?
Maybe if you just talked about it, be fine.
Okay, now you're just messing with me. And Renji just buries his head in this old, dusty book.
Oh.
And then Sho, but like, is like, or how about this? And like, takes this like Howry and like pulls the collar up over his face a bit and speaks in a little bit of an accent, and is like, Renji, would you like to explain to me what you were doing so late out?
You can see Renji just shiver. Stop it.
Oh man, I'm so glad I found you guys. Oh.
That's the best we're getting from me tonight. I'm tired.
I guess Ziden will turn to Tyrina and say, "What about yourself? What can you tell us?"
Well, as you're probably aware, I'm a paladin of the goddess Etheria, goddess of balance and life and all the good stuff. Came straight from the Gerudo Desert. Did a bit of wandering, exploring, adventuring, at least for a couple of weeks before I found these three idiots. And then she kind of gestures to show Renji and Hikan.
Renji holds up his hand. Not an idiot.
Sure holds up his hands. Yes, he is.
And then, well, I guess a bit of a match was made, I suppose. And then we found you guys.
Those poor cows.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, but, you know, not everything in this world is going to be as amiable as us.
I feel I don't want to know about these cows.
Simply humble beginnings.
Yep. You see, my time with the Order was short, but it was fun. You know, Etheria is the goddess of life and balance and everything. Like I said, my masters taught me that part of revering life is to live it. And that's what we asked us what we wanted out of life. Myself, well, I wanted a challenge. That's why I was so happy, like, fighting this guy over here. She points the thumb over to the unconscious bandit friend.
Shattered face McBoulder suplex.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to go out and murder people. That's not fun. But helping folks is probably the best part of my job. But if there's an excitement in fighting stronger opponents, that's where I want to be. If it's not a challenge, if I'm not forced to put my all into it, then I know I'm not living life to the full, you know?
Sho raises a hand. Yeah.
Careless Whisper plays in the background.
I suppose, like, helping people is a side benefit for your usual stuff, am I right?
The innocent shouldn't face too many unjust troubles. That's as far as my That's as far as my helping the common folk go.
Well, that's good enough.
Poor farmers and whatnot
Hmm.
simply face way too much duress by bandits for no good reason.
Exactly. Well, I think I'm gonna stay up and Star Watch for a bit, and then try and get some sleep. Feel free to ask me for anything if you want, but in the meantime, I'm just gonna be staring off into space. She lies back and just kind of stretches a bit before, like, putting her hands behind her head in a restful position, and just stares into the night sky.
Renji just slams the book shut, says, "Alright, who's having second watch?"
I
And
will.
he's getting on the, sitting on the ridge.
I'll take second.
Right, you rest up then.
Joe just basically just squats in one of the tents. That the bandit tents, like, if they're not having them, then I guess I will.
Okay. So the night goes on, everybody else kind of just settles in. Renji, if you'd like to make a perception check for me.
Alright then. 23.
23.
Good eyes.
I've had them enhanced.
Zoom and enhance. Zoom and enhance.
Enhance.
Has your vision been augmented?
It has.
Did you
So
ask for this?
don't tell Sho.
Did you ask for this? Anyway, so you kind of like set yourself up on the ridge. You look out into the darkness, see the rolling hills. You can see the lights of Hyrule Castle Town far off in the distance, and just you can hear the flitter of bat wings just flying around in the night. And you kind of keep an eye on everything. And while you feel that there's like a chill that runs up your spine, something that you know belongs to your obligatory friend.
Friend is a
I close my eyes for a moment and then just
strong word.
breathe out carefully. And I open my eyes again.
You open your eyes, you see the amber glow of the Twilight Realm, the pixels that are rising in different areas.
I glance around to see if my companions are around.
They seem ethereal in a sense. Like they seem kind of to have the blue glow of a ghost, but they don't appear unnerved by anything. They're all resting perfectly fine.
Well, what is it?
More friends, Renji.
They seem to have accrued a troop of sorts, yes?
Yes, you'd have. That's good. That's very good.
Okay, good how?
Well, it's not good for my core agent to be so lonely and distracted when he has so many things to do.
See, we never really discussed what it is that I'd have to do.
I told you before. Find and slay interesting things. Like that ghost back in town. Why didn't you send it to me?
First of all, he was my friend. Second of all, he was a person.
And that hasn't stopped you before. You've rushed into battle with these individuals. So many of them slain, maybe not by your hand, but you were willing to kill, were you not?
It's different that way. I don't murder indiscriminately. I don't want that. And you're certainly not getting that from me.
We'll see. And as you kind of blink one last time, you find yourself still sitting on the ridge looking out, and the night sky has resumed its kind of normal coloration. The breeze suddenly becomes incredibly chilling to you as you kind of feel reality readjust itself.
I pull my cloak around me again, and I take out the old book with the coded Twilight rituals that I've gotten these powers from, and I just try and figure out anything more about it.
Okay.
As I keep watch, as I try and like half keep watch.
Other than obviously what just happened, the rest of your watch kind of goes uneventfully as you continue to code through the Twilly book.
Like I'm there is this small handwritten note that basically decodes it for me. That is how I've gotten to read most of it.
Yeah. And as you go, you feel that your allotted time has passed as the moon kind of drifts overhead still.
I put the book back in the bag of holding, head over to Sho, sit down, and tap his shoulder. Master Swordsman? I think it's your turn.
Indeed. He groans, bad noises, gets up.
You need to get that sciatica looked at.
Be quiet, boy.
He's in his mid-20s, what the fuck?
And heads out and basically sits in the same spot that Renji was before.
Okay. And Renji, you kind of lie down. There's a little bit of trouble getting to sleep, but you do eventually get there. And Sho, I'd like you to make a perception check, please.
Perception. Bum, 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 bum. 16.
Okay. Much like before, you look out over the darkness. You see the silhouette of the rolling hills and the trees, and you hear presumably the bats or nocturnal birds flying around in the sky. As you kind of ruminate on things, possibly make sure that all the spells that you need prepared have been prepared. You look out and you see nothing. It's a relatively quiet, calm night. And about an hour before your shift ends, you hear the quiet, the attempted quiet clanking of metal kind of just wander over, and eventually sitting next to you is Tyrina. She just sits down and says, "Morning."
Sho looks up at the air. It's very much still dark. I imagine.
Yeah. It's like that. You could there's a kind of tinge behind you where sunrise in the east. Sorry, ahead of you where you can see the start of a sunrise come up. But
I suppose so.
I'm wondering, do you think Nah. Sorry, I was wondering something out loud. I just can't, I've lost my train of thought as well. That's unfortunate.
If you're trying to play the whole, oh, I was going to say something, but now I'm not going to in order to try and make me probe interest out of it, you're sorely mistaken.
Well, I'm afraid it'll have to be a mystery to both of us, because I genuinely forgot what I was going to say. But what do you reckon to our new companions?
Looks over at the unconscious bandit and like, do you mean him?
Oh, no. I mean, our new, acquisition, who I'm sure that is probably awake by now. Kind of like turns over to look at Ziden, and then still look at the probably still sleeping Max, who has to sleep the full 8 hours.
Ziden's off to the side, meditating to refresh his spells now.
Yeah.
Or to realign them to useful stuff.
Joe squints his eyes at Max and is like, he's just a lost boy. I will see him put on the right path. As far as...
That's good. That's a good mentality to have. Well, and she kind of stands up again, and hefts her axe and says, I guess I'm up early. I've done all the preparing for my magics that I need to do. I'll be over there testing my new gloves if you want to have a bit of a spar to do some practicing. Unless, of course, you want to continue your watch.
No, I feel like I need to burn some energy anyways.
That's good. And she kind of wanders over to an unoccupied space, and the two of you just kind of trade practice blows for a bit. There's a lot of impact behind Tyrina's attacks now, especially with the
new punches.
She doesn't heft any boulders at you for any particular reason, but she.
Oh, thank God!
But it's kind of like you can feel slight tremors in the ground whenever she swings her axe, misses you, and then just kind of it impacts the floor. And it's quite impressive, at least from that current perspective. And eventually, the rest of you wake up to hear the clanging of metal and the sounds of practice combat going off onto the side. Your bandit friend still hasn't woken up yet.
Hikan gets on the boulder behind the bandit man and does his meditation to regain his key points before doing his morning kata.
Okay.
I assume I'm still just hopping around trying to avoid getting lopped.
Yeah. Yeah.
Max eventually gets up, stretches, and then just watches you guys.
Yeah, and as the whole cavalcade kind of reawakens, Tyrina kind of offers a pause to the combat and says, well, we're all up and awake. How about we get ourselves back to town, unless you guys have anything specific you want to do here.
I don't believe so, says a yawning Renji. Maybe some breakfast? Any more of those good berries?
Ziden will...
You won't need it. That thing will keep the one that you had will keep you full until this night, until today's dinner time. Really,
yeah,
a full day of.
They were tasty though, so.
I don't hand him another one.
He still has 4.
And Renji will look at it for a moment and then just keep it ready in case for like marching munchies.
Well, actually, Since I spent no magic in that fight, I'd probably just use all the spell slots to make 50 good berries. Because why not?
Just have a bag
Well-
of good berries. Do they spoil? I don't know if they spoil.
After 24 hours.
So
potency.
after 24 hours, they turn into just plain old berries, and then they spoil like normal berries.
Ah.
So when you ask for another berry, he'll just take a sack from his side, open it, and it's like full of berries to the brim.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moon Druid doesn't need spells.
Woo.
Right. Sho heads over to old bandit face. Is he awake?
No, he's still just kind of.
Hikan lays the bandit on the ground with his ties up and makes sure that he sticks his staff through the hole in his arms and the holes in his legs, and motions to whomever's willing to help to just kind of lift him and carry him like a pig.
You see this effort is rather appreciated if we were lifting it normally. But as Sho turns to Tyrina,
Hi.
would you like to try those gauntlets?
Sure, why not? Kind of just leans down, grabs the guy by the ropes with one hand, and just pulls him up and hefts him onto her shoulder. And says, "I think this'll do," and then just just walks on, just down the newly formed thing, and just heads off.
Hikan
He's
shrugs
coming
and just
or what?
follows.
I'll follow.
As I assume we're off, I guess.
But yeah, you progress back down the path, making your way back to Hyrule Castle Town towards the eastern entrance of Hyrule Castle Town's thing, and heading over through the farmlands. It's still another very pleasant day, which is only a good thing. Though you do see some spots of clouds in the sky over on the horizon. People continuing to work as normal. Casting a curious glance as they see a lot of you return. One of you having casually dragging a man bound over their shoulder. Guards kind of eventually a passing guard kind of goes past you and says, "Oh, you lot right?"
Renji already shows his signet ring.
Yep.
Actual business.
All right, okay. And
Question: Is this Tony or Paulie?
No.
Okay.
It's just a regular guard. And you kind of head past him as you walk on, having shown the signet ring. The bandit's still kind of unconscious and just still not doing anything other than breathing and being a nuisance.
We should probably
Get him a physician.
Either a physician or a jailer.
Perhaps both.
Can I just look at him a moment to check he's not faking?
Make a insight check.
Can I make a slap check to make sure he's not faking?
16.
So you're pretty sure he isn't faking it, especially after the show slaps him around the face like, what's it?
Now,
Why?
before you say anything, I want you to take a nice look around and find the situation that you're in.
Where the fuck are we?
We're in Hyrule Castle Town.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
what's up,
Okay.
good friend?
Hikan
Oh.
pokes his nose.
Oof. Is it? Why? What's? It's. Ow. My name's. I'm kind of disinclined to tell you my name now that you've kind of tied me up and poked me in the nose, but I don't really have much of a choice now, do I?
Apologies, but you do not.
Yeah, right. my name is Bruno.
Hello, Bruno.
Hello. Who are you?
I'm disinclined to tell you my name.
That's just not fair.
Shut up, boy. His name is Renji. My name is Sho. Points around to everyone. Tyrina, Max, Ziden. Come on.
I broke your nose.
He broke your nose.
Yeah, I gathered that. Why? Ow!
You threw a boulder at us!
But that's what I do! I'm Bruno the boulder thrower. What do you expect me to do? Cook you
no,
tea?
you're not.
I don't think I'll cook you tea. That's not what a boulder thrower does. He throws fucking boulders, alright? Ow, my face! Ow!
Now that is recompense for your boulder throwing antics.
Also, you're being a nuisance as, like, bandits, so that's why we took care of you.
Yeah.
Swings and roundabouts.
More like Bruno the Broken now.
Terry just kind of like shifts her shoulder and goes, "Thanks for the gauntlets, by the way. They're absolutely lovely." It's not. Oh, but they're mine. I think. I don't.
No.
Okay.
Where
No,
did
they're
you
not.
get them from?
Oh, I don't.
No, I'm
What's
sure
the date
you do.
today?
Show rattles off the date.
Oh, no fucking clue. It's been a while, and as you probably have guessed, I have been punched in the face so hard that my nose is broken. I'm having trouble remembering things.
Can I jar his memory?
I wouldn't punch him again.
Oh.
We'll be taking
I
you.
didn't punch him, he punched himself.
I
correct
find that
now.
hard to believe.
Is his hand broken?
No, it was protected by the might of the gauntlets.
Fair enough.
Long story short, he's not incorrect.
I would say in either case we should take him to jail.
Indeed. Apologies about your compatriots as well. They were uninclined to stand down.
What's happened to them? They did, aren't they?
Apologies.
Fuck, that's like the 5th time this week. Alright, okay.
Well, at least you don't. At least you're not hung up about it.
Did you just say this week?
Yeah. They keep sending guards over, and then it's just.
I assume the boulders happen.
Yes.
Well, you are going to jail.
Well, shit.
So he's not Bruno the Brainy. Okay, got it.
Serve your sentence and use your mind for better purposes.
Fine. And you kind of like, as you get to the gates of the town, the two guards who are positioned there, one of them on one side, because it's a big gate. Just comes over and says, "I can't help but think that maybe that's not the normal thing we allow in. Why have you got a man tied over your shoulder?"
I show my signet ring
This
again.
is Bruno the Blockheaded. He was the bandit that was messing the trade
Boulder
Oh.
throw.
over to the east.
He can't. Boulder throw.
Blockheaded.
Boulder throw.
Broken nose.
Boulder throw.
Boulder
Bruno
brain.
the Brutal.
We arrest
bro.
him. Can we trade him in now?
Yeah, sure, fine. Just
I will
either
trade
way,
you this bandit for one holographic blue eyes white dragon.
Yes, please.
if you just leave him here, we'll take care of it. Where do you have like an inn you're staying at, or a home, or something that we can send like recompense to, or something?
Lord
like that?
Simeon's estate.
Lord Simeon's estate, right? Oh, you're the guy. Oh, okay,
Um,
all right.
We're the what?
Oh, you're the guy. You're the guys that have been working for Lord Simeon. Yeah, there was a missive going around early this morning on behalf of Lord Whitestone. So I think it's probably best if you might get someone talking to you today or something along those lines. But in the meantime, I'll take care of that bandit for you, and you can go about your day.
See that he's not too shaken up. He seems like an honest sort, if a bit.
Morally ambiguous.
Right.
Poor soul just needs an outlet to punch things, one would imagine.
Maybe. But yeah, just leave him here. We'll take care of him.
Of course.
We'll
Tyrina, if you
reimburse
would.
you for the rope as well, if this is your rope.
It is alright.
Okay, we'll reimburse you for that.
Pyro, no, if you could be so kind.
Of course. And then she kind of just moves around and then
Drop.
rather essentially just dumps the man onto the hard cobblestone floor. And it's just, Aye!
Do you regret your life choices up until this moment?
I'm still a bit punch drunk, mate. I don't exactly know what I'm meant to be doing. Why? I'm gonna nap. And just kind of like lays his head down.
Greatest decision you've made all day. As you were, guardsman.
Alright. And they offer a salute. And one of them kind of keeps an eye on Bruno while the other one goes back to his guard duty. And as you walk off, you hear one of them shout for like a runner. And yeah, they go about the thing. And you find yourselves back in Hyrule Castle Town. It's busy. It's a very busy day. You see a lot of people running around. A couple of them moving fairly sizable crates and supplies of stuff in different directions. And yeah, you've returned home. What do you want to do?
I'm going to keep my ears out for any potential political envoy.
Ziden will turn to Tyrina and say, I think it might be best if I go share these berries out with those who might more be in need. Would you like to accompany me?
Sure, why not? That seems like a good idea. I guess I'll see you guys. I guess we'll see you guys back at the estate. Where are you guys gonna go?
I'm thinking of heading to the library for a moment, and I'll probably pop in at Lord Simeon's place, just since we are a team, apparently.
I need to head to the archives. I must find something on the censuses regarding Max.
Okay.
I might as well join you then.
I'm gonna go to Lord Simeon's estate and read.
I'll go with you, Hikan, I guess.
Okay, let's go! And he just like starts happily marching towards Lord Simeon's estate.
Ziden has a happy smile as he sees his adopted son go off with his new friend.
Yay!
They grow up so fast.
Max kind of has a job to keep up.
I do hope his new friend isn't such an influence.
Going monk speed.
You would not want our small robed friend to end up on bar crawls.
Oh dear. Okay,
I
let's
have enough children to look after. I don't want another drunkard.
let's go feed the homeless. We'll see you guys later.
Indeed.
Okay, and you head off. Right, let's do Team Robin Hood first. So you head southwards, past the various different areas of the residential district, past the various shops, and eventually you get to that familiar place near the Wasp's Nest, where you find what is essentially entitled the slums. These rundown buildings and various different people. As you get closer, you can see them all eyeing you very suspiciously. A couple of them kind of slink off into dark alleys or back behind their doors as they see these strangers go by. And those who don't really have anywhere to go just remain seated on the floor, either looking at you or looking right past you, just to try and just deal with the day.
Ziden will turn to Tyrina and say, I have not been in cities for quite some time. You have a perspective on where to start?
Well, I feel like if we shout out free food, we're not exactly going to be doing anybody a favor. So, I suppose we just look around and discreetly offer food to those that we immediately believe are in need. I mean, we've got a couple of people on the street here. And she kind of just frowns slightly as she thinks about it and says, "It's a pity we can't do more for these people, but I guess we have to prioritize. So we gotta go for the ill, the children, and the elderly first, and then we'll cycle through."
Well, right now I have at least 50 berries.
Okay. So, let's get started. And she kind of leads you over to various different people she kind of points out. And I'd like you to make... I'd like you to make a general charisma check. In your efforts to... And you have advantage on this. In order to kind of sway the homeless and the... Okay, so an 11. There's an unfortunate roll with advantage.
No, the other side was horrible.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ziden is still a bit stiff and not used to large amounts of people.
Yeah. So there are people who kind of let you go over, you try and like offer something, but they're like they're paranoid of it. They kind of just look at it and think that you're doing wrong by them in some way, so they retreat elsewhere. Others just kind of they try and take one, they try and take as many as they can. But you do get a couple of people who are generally like thankful for the things that you're providing. They kind of say to you, bless you. They like hug you, just pat you on the shoulder or something like that, as you offer them food. And you can see that as they eat this food, they like the change is almost instant. You can see how much better that makes them feel, that they've been given food for enough food to make them feel nourished and full and satisfied for a long while.
Yay, magic food.
Yeah. Okay. So while you're doing that, we'll check in with Team Castle. So you guys head up the path all the way to Castle, and you see that all the soldiers doing their usual drills. Occasionally you pass by, you see a rather curious sight as you're about to head into the castle grounds proper. You see Nihilus kind of marching down a hallway behind Princess Sophitia, this raven-haired girl, this 14-year-old raven-haired girl who's currently wearing a cloak over her dress, like a dark, nondescript cloak. As they walk past, you can see that there is an air of disappointment on Nihilus's face.
Sho doffs his hat and bows as Sophitia goes by.
Renji bows as well, and then nods to Nihilus' father.
Hello. How are you doing this morning?
Very well, thank you. We're just going to the library and the archives.
Okay, that's fine. I am escorting this little troublemaker back to her room. Isn't that right, Princess Sophitia? And there's kind of a stubborn huff from Sophitia. You know Sophitia is the adventurous one out of the three children, and has more than once been caught trying to sneak outside the castle walls not to go on adventures, and being immediately caught by her caretaker.
Because Nihilus sees fucking everything.
20 passive perception.
Renji is going to just roll his eyes, and then he's going to say, Princess, I could teach you some of the secrets of this castle if you'd like.
She kind of looks at you and glares at you. You're 16, right?
17.
17, yeah. So she's like 3 years younger than you, and she's kind of like she's probably the closest person to a non-related, similar age friend that she has, but you can tell that she's remarkably stubborn and aggressive, and so she kind of just only responds with a bit of a glare.
I just can't get over the fact that Renji just offered to tell the princess the secret passageways in front of his father.
I do glance over at Renji does glance over at his father just to see his response.
There is the folding of arms, and he just kind of looks down and says, and just FYI, Princess, my son learned all the secrets from this castle from me, so if there's anything he knows, I know.
Well, foiled again.
Sho proceeds to give the good old upside the head.
Thank you, Sho.
What?
As always, Master
Paddy,
Alice.
he can't do that to me.
Just did, got permission. Come on, we're going to the archives. Have a good day, Master Nihilus and Princess Sophia.
Father.
You too,
Princess.
have a good day. Stay out of trouble.
I'll do my best to keep him out of it.
I am already in it.
And yeah, so you go two different ways.
As Nihilus is out of earshot, I look at Sho, breathe out like a sigh of, and just say, if he only knew.
Yeah.
So as you trudge.
It does amuse me to see the princess in your position. Not too many years ago.
I was never in that sort of position.
Oh, you were. I saw it.
Oh.
As you trudge on.
Forget that I said I have seen a lot.
You trudge on, you go down the corridors, and you find yourself back at the library, and you see still the mound of books in different directions, as well as all the different bookshelves, and you see Mara, her blonde hair kind of frazzled in different directions. She looks over and says, "Oh, hello. It's nice to see you guys again.
Good morning, Mara.
Are you looking for anything specific in the library today?"
I think Sho here wants to look at some boring census documents.
Oh, okay. Well, the
Forgive me
census...
that my acquired taste in reading isn't as adventurous as you.
I just don't see why you get off on that stuff.
I feel like I'm missing context here, but that's fine. If you want the census scrolls, they're at the back. To the left, there's a full rack of them. But as always, be careful when handling them. There are old documents, so they might fall apart.
Thank you kindly, Mara. If you would find some nice picture books for Renji, that might entertain him for a while.
So you disappear, and then Mara turns to Renji and says,
I'm not really interested in picture books, sorry.
Oh, okay.
That was a joke.
Right. Well, is there anything you were looking for today, or just a quiet place to sit down and read?
Actually, do you have any books on Sheikah lore?
Oh, well, we don't have as much as probably the Sheikah do wherever they live, but we do have a few which are more probably record documents and stuff that's kept in the castle on behalf of Master Zelish. If you, let's see, and she kneels down and picks up like a notepad and starts flicking through it rather rapidly, and says, if you find yourself in, let's see, I think it's section A, shelf 24, you might be able to find some books there.
A24, thank you. That's very helpful, thank you.
No worries.
Renji just smiles and heads there to section A24.
Okay. Okay, so we'll come back to you guys in a sec. As you venture off. Meanwhile, with Max and Hikan, team young guns or whatever it is,
Team children.
Yeah. You trudge through the noble district. You transition from the commoners in the residential district to the more finely dressed and well-to-do individuals of the nobles district.
We are the scruffiest people in this entire world.
Drunk child and cloaked child.
And ragged homeless kid.
Yeah.
You make your way through the streets. Are there any places you want to stop off at before you get to Simeon's, or just straight to Simeon's?
Max doesn't have anything he particularly wants to do, aside from getting back.
Hikan's already asked all the stuff of Uriel that he could, or is really interested in, and got the gift, so, I mean, the only thing that he knows in that area is Simeon, so...
Okay. So you head to Simeon's estate. You see the two guards at the door. They stand to attention as you enter, salute. and the door opens for you, and you find yourselves back in Lord Simeon's estate, more or less in the same state it has always been. And I guess you guys like heading to the library, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we step in, I'm going to look to see if the butler is there.
Okay, he seems to be busying himself with something in the dining hall.
So he's like just trying to find something to do.
Yeah.
So Hikan walks up with all 3 of the job scrolls and goes, "All done!" and then walks out to the library.
Very well. Thank you. And he's just kind of just like, and just wanders off in a different direction to deal with these scrolls. He just like came out of nowhere.
Shut leaves.
It's like when you hand in the quest and then just skip all the dialogue afterwards.
Thank you. Here's my payment.
So you head through into the library, and you can see kind of sitting in a wingback chair, one book lazily held in hand is Simeon, and he's awake this time for once, and he looks over and says, "Oh, hello. Welcome back.
Hi.
You have all been fairly busy."
Hikan nods. It's like, "I gave the scrolls to the butler person because I didn't know if you fell asleep reading again."
Well, I did a few hours ago, but I feel like I have my energy back. In regards to the scrolls, it's very good, and in good time as well. There are a few things that we need to deal with today, but I should actually have an assignment for all of you at the moment. Yes, welcome back. Where are the rest of your companions?
Busy.
Okay. Well then, I suppose I can leave you to it, unless there's anything you need specifically from me.
We're just waiting for the others to get back.
Okay, very well. In that case, make yourself at home. And he continues reading his book.
Max is going to look through the shelves to see if he can find any books that have to be written in Draconic.
Okay, make an investigation check.
13.
You find plenty of common written books that mention dragons, the majority of which are like, this is the story of this guy who slew a dragon, but
The great and terrible Volvagia.
well, that's a Goron tale. That's all the way in Death Mountain.
Someone written about it though.
Oh yeah. There's one non-fiction book on dragons, but it's fairly thin because the only named dragon in recent history has been Volvagia, at least as far as most people are aware. But there is at least one document written with Draconic script. Not the entirety of it, but bits and pieces. It appears to be some kind of journal that was formally published on the behalf of one Lord Draymore. And it appears to have like a detailed information in regards to the biology of dragons, the society of dragons, all that kind of stuff. But even then, what he has is fairly sparse.
Max is going to take that and the non-fiction book and read those until the others come back.
Okay. And he can?
Hikan is looking for books relating to history written in Common, Sheikah, or Gerudo, anything to give him hints on his quest.
Okay, so make an investigation check.
Yay, -2. 8.
Okay, so you have a look through it. You can't seem to find anything particularly useful. As Simeon has explained a while ago, history within the realms of Hyrule is remarkably sparse and hard to come by, which is an unfortunate state. His general goal is to figure out what truly started the Civil War, so that they don't have to repeat history and it happen again somewhere down the line. But as described by him, most history books here are spotty. A lot of them are twisted by Civil War style propaganda. It's difficult to find anything that would pertain to your current quest.
Hikan grumbles and just nods in understanding.
Okay. Meanwhile, back with two guys in the slums. It's been about a couple of hours now, and you've managed to hand out pretty much all of your good berries, all the ones that you had left. And Tyrina just kind of turns to you, Ziden, and says, "Well, is there anything else you wanted to do here before we head out, or are we good?"
I would say that we are fine for now.
Okay. Did you want to head straight back to the estate, or did you want to just browse the town a little bit? Anywhere you wanted to go?
Oh, a nice wander around was always good. Learn the lay of the land. Perhaps see how society has developed a bit in my absence.
Okay. As you kind of begin to wander a bit, and you transition from the slums into the commercial district in the south of Hyrule, or Hyrule Castle Town, and you get to the main. You look around. You see that it's very much like you would expect a major metropolitan area to be. People have very little patience and lots of things to do. They're busily running around, sometimes shouting at each other, or sometimes stopping to have a chat. No one seems to sit still, with the exception of the guards, who are kind of paid to sit still. And as you get to the main market, you can hear the loud shouting of people at the stalls shouting for their wares, like, "Get your apples here! Get your apples! Fine apples from the farming district!" And along those, more rhetoric along those lines.
The usual spiel.
Usual spiel. You do find like a few other stores and inns along the way. You see a couple of places, like you see Jamal's Leatherwork Emporium off to one side. You see Goron Works, which is this big, rather crudely put together blacksmith. You see a fair few things in one area. As you kind of transition further to the east, you see an area called Crossroads Cross Stitching. And
That sounds interesting.
Hmm.
I guess I'll turn to Tyrina. Want to try looking in there?
In the cross stitching place, sure.
I'll head on inside.
Yeah. So Crossroads Cross Stitching is a remarkably small locale. It looks like it was something that was converted from a house into a shop. It's located here on the map, as I have indicated there, but it's more or less towards the northern part of the commercial district. And as you head inside, you can see racks of cloth of various different designs. You can see mannequins dressed in various different wares, and sitting behind a table, fiddling with a needle, is a very well-built but short man with short, darkish black hair. Well, black is dark. So with black hair.
A rare shade of light black.
And he's kind of just like he's trying to deal with a thread through a needle, and he's got like various different measuring tapes around his neck, and yeah. And as you enter, he looks up and goes, "Oh, hello. Welcome to my shop. I'm Ike. How are you?"
I'm good. My name is Ziden. This is Tyrina.
Hi.
I just thought to come in and see what your shop contained.
Oh, well, we're mainly a tailor. We just do clothes ready for order, usually within the span of a day or two, unless we're busy. And we also do fabrics and things. We can do flags, we can do blankets, banners, you name it, we can do it. When I say we, it's more I am the only one who actually runs this place.
Ah, I see. Well, I could certainly get a proper outfit for my boy.
Well, if that's the case, then sure, just send him down this way at one point, and then what we can do is we can measure him up and get him sorted for an actual attire, as you put it.
You'll see when he comes what I mean.
Fair enough, fair enough. Do either of you want anything made at all, or are you okay? And Tyrina just says, nah, I think I'm good.
I'm fine as well.
Okay, well, feel free to have a browse while I'm busy doing this one. It's a latest commission. Yes, well, have a good day.
You too. Thank you very much.
Goes back to it and leaves you to your own devices within his shop.
Guess we'll look around for a bit before heading back to head up, I guess, towards the estate again.
Okay.
God, if you come in looking in shambles, we'll get no sympathy from him.
Damn it! Oh, dear.
Hey, he fights for his friends. It's fine.
I like Ike.
Who doesn't? He's the best Fire Emblem Lord. He actually is. So
I
much
was
so...
talking about Dwight Eisenhower.
Oh, shut up!
Oh, dear. Anyway, back
No,
with...
just kidding.
It's a. Don't worry, I missed both references.
back with the other overly anime, the recently over anime styled Nintendo franchise.
Yeah, back with the Animu Bros in the castle library. Sho, you currently have before you several scrolls of old censuses that have been left on the shelf, but to maintain some kind of legible condition. Would you like to make me an investigation check?
No.
Okay, fine. You don't find anything. Back to Renji.
No. Fine, I can't.
It's
be
my
funny
turn
then.
now.
No,
Shut
shut
up,
up.
Liz.
No, shut up.
No.
Dad was making a joke. Dad's making a joke. Shut up.
Okay.
Investigation. Nat 20. 26
Nice.
total. Fuckhead.
Excellent. Okay. So, you search and search and search and search. It takes you a good couple of hours before you find anything that looks remotely like the trinket that Max has on his person. You find it belongs to a fairly well-to-do family. They weren't nobles by any stretch, at least according to the census, but they were fairly wealthy in their own right. Possibly people who made their money in their own fashion. As far as you can tell, they were a part of the citizenship of Hyrule Castle for at least until 127 years ago. And suddenly they just drop off the census. And a lot of these families seem to as well. They just seem to just disappear.
Do I have a name?
It's a bit smudged. But you find them to have the name, at least in... Actually, it would be in a... Actually, no. 100 years wouldn't have been enough to actually...
Nowhere near long enough.
Nowhere near long enough.
Depends on whether or not there's been an invasion.
Yeah. You have to... had to have had... So you would have been in the state... Comparing... If this was modern... If common is modern English, this would be back somewhere in the region of like the long S period or something like that.
So, you know, back when Hylian was a little bit more like Sheikah.
Kinda. Well, it's like the ancient Hylian has been going through so many transitional periods, even back to the time when before Hyrule was Hyrule.
Sure.
But
is it legible to me? My languages are Common, Sheikah, Celestial, and
Gerudo. I'd say you have a natural intelligence enough for it to be.
I can parse it with my knowledge.
Yeah.
A parse as in P-A-R-S-E. I can parse like the grammatical differences and stuff. Just by being a smart cookie.
You believe it belongs to a family by the name of Mightwind.
Mightwind. I'm going to close up all the census scrolls and put them back carefully.
Okay.
I'm going to waltz back over to Mara.
Oh, hi there. How can I help?
Any books regarding the name Mightwind?
Oh, And she kind of slowly turns her gaze to the immense library that is behind her, and says, "It might take me a while to look that up. I'll do my best. Just make sure to check in whenever you can."
Oh, I return.
She needs an assistant, poor girl.
What they need is the Dewey Decimal System. But that isn't a thing in this. So, no! Oh,
They're ruining
poor
a
girl.
decimal system.
Oh my god!
Oh dear.
You see, this book equals 1 rock, while this type of book equals 2 rocks.
Oh dear.
The system rocks.
Okay.
Oh, yep, that's me done here, I suppose. I'm heading off to Lord Simeon's.
Okay. With Renji.
Screw him, I'm already gone.
Okay. With
I don't care.
So you were looking for a very specific thing, weren't you?
Sheikah law, indeed.
Sheikah law. Make an investigation check for me.
Yeah, you see,
Investigation
you have to read a bunch of item descriptions and talk to a lot of NPCs.
That is 14.
That is a 14 for investigation. You have a look and you find a fair few things in regards to the Sheikah history. Surprising, considering it's a race that's mainly guarded in secrecy. There are a tangible number of people in Hyrule Castletown who just believe Sheikah as a whole to be a myth. But as you read through it, it's mainly just descriptions of people, heraldry, the lengths and breadths of various different families and dynasties that have occurred, but all of it have the same general descriptor that goes along with it, which is they were put on this earth by Hylia in order to put in this world by Hylia to protect the mortal royal family. That is the Sheikah credo.
If Hylia was playing a good old game of StarCraft 2 with the M&M ball that surrounds the soft gooey nexus that is the royal family.
Yep.
Yeah, that kind of rubs me the wrong way as I read that, but I try to find out any history, any tangible maybe any references to rebellion or uprise or interlopers.
You find something that comes from 1,000 years ago, or barely referencing 1 or 2 instances where it involves powerful magic users called the interlopers who had attempted to utilize their great magics and technology in order to bring the Triforce to kneel for their own power, but were cast out to where the book does not say. But it was also mentioned that the Triforce was moved to the Sacred Realm for safekeeping from that point onward.
Oh, Link to the Past! I was like, I know this.
Even I know this one.
I play video
Yes,
games. That
the old book is indeed a link to the past.
Added to the
Technically
counter.
correct, which is the best kind of correct.
Added to the counter.
Ding.
I don't know. Talking about all these realms and stuff makes me think that the book's a link between worlds.
Don't you?
Ding.
The moment you started, I was like, "Oh, don't do it." Boy, he finna.
Also, now you request a scene where the Princess Sophicia asks me near the evening what time it is.
It's Twilight, Princess.
Yes.
No, we need to continue. We need to get
Yes.
out of this tornado of puns.
Punado. It's a thunderstorm.
So that's pretty much the only thing that you find.
I do
Besides all
bring
these
this
1 million
book with me. I do bring this book with me to Mara and ask if it's either possible that I take this with me or that a copy can be made.
Well, I don't know about a copy, but if you want to take it with you, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure that you don't keep it for too long. I think Master Zelish wants to make sure it's still there for the most part.
I understand. I'll keep it. I'll keep it safe.
Okay. Is there anything else I can help you out with today?
Not in particular. How are you doing?
I'm okay. A bit busy, a bit bored, but what about you?
I seem to have plenty to do. Lord Simeon is bringing in some good work.
Okay, that's good.
Anyway, I'd best be off.
Okay.
Sho might be looking for me or not. I can never tell with that guy.
All right. Well, I guess have a good day.
Yeah, you too. And Renji leaves again.
Okay. You head on out. Eventually, all forces converge on Lord Simeon's estate. All of you finding that Max and Hikan are in the library with Simeon, who has now basically dozed off, still in his seat with his book.
God damn it.
Hikan's pouting because he couldn't find a book.
Renji is going to try and wake up Lord Simeon.
Okay, how do you propose to do this?
I would like to do this with a simple just nudging his shoulder and saying, Lord Simeon, please wake up.
Hello. Oh, there you all are. Sorry, I must have dozed off again.
And no worries. I was wondering, could I talk to you in private?
Sure, absolutely. By all means. And he pushes himself from his chair and he puts his book to one side and says, I suppose, yes, follow me. And he guides you away to a different room.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of turns around. Eventually brings you to, I think, like a small side room. And turns around to you and puts his hand behind his back and says, so, what did you wish to speak to me about?
How much do you know of the structure concerning Sheikah society here and elsewhere?
I know from being told by your kin that you have a Grandmaster at the top with effectively lords below him, and yes, you have it's difficult to describe. I'm trying to think of the appropriate thing to use it, but the word escapes me right now.
That's no problem.
In regards to Sheikah society, I know that you're very there's a cultural value of the truth and information, and in many cases secretness. I am aware that dotted around town there are a few of these stones with the Sheik eye on them. They're called gossip stones, am I correct?
That is correct, yes.
And from what I understand, at least reading my folklore correctly, one of the lesser deities, Hylian, who was entrusted with the Triforce at one point in her lifetime, had either created or enlisted the Sheikah in order to watch over the mortal royal family. Yes.
Well, how much do you know of Sheikah history?
Only as much as the books that I have glanced at. You've been diligent in your tasks up until a certain point in history where potentially a group of individuals among your kin had rebelled, but
yes,
there's been some debate as to whether or not the interlopers themselves were Sheikah, but that's besides the point.
How much do you know about these interlopers?
They were powerful, intelligent, and ruthless. That's everything I know.
There's nothing more?
I'm afraid not. As I've said before, history in Hyrule is rather spotty and not very well kept, which is my quest in order to fix that problem.
I've been on the lookout for any information concerning these interlopers. I came across a mention of the Twilight Realm.
Right.
I wonder if you know anything about that.
Only that it is another plane of existence that is unpleasant.
Well, if you do get any books across your desk talking about this, could you please tell me?
Of course.
Thank you, Lord Simeon.
Not a problem.
That will be all then that I wish to discuss.
Okay. And while you guys were talking, the rest of you, as they disappear off into another room, you hear a knock at the door.
Ziden will open it.
Okay. You open the door and you see, still dressed in his full plate mail, is Larson Graves, helmet off this time, under one arm, and he says, hello, greetings again. I'm Larson Graves. I was the chaplain that was enlisted to help you with the previous quest the other night. Would you mind if I came in?
I don't. He'll stand out of the way.
Yeah, he comes in, turns around and says, where are the rest of your companions?
I assume we're going to turn up then. Good old timing. Hello.
Yeah. So you, so as everybody else kind of just trudges around and says, "Oh, excellent. Well, I thought I'd come by." And he puts his helmet on a nearby table and then uses both hands to remove like a pouch of gold from his belt and puts it on the table as well. It says, "The gold is yours. A standard fee, of course, as promised by the quests that you have been requested to do, but also a bonus on behalf of Lord Whitestone."
Oh. Thank you very much. Ziden will take the bag and see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah,
would you be able to...
It was 200 gold pieces for dealing with Paul's thing. And then Whitestone has added an additional 300 on top of that. Nice. In regards to the bandit dealing problem, that's 300 gold on top of that.
Nice.
What about the tavern?
The tavern hasn't come up yet. Like, Larson wasn't assigned to such a thing.
So everyone
It's
gets
133.
What? Alright. Why did I do 3? Meant to be 6. Yeah.
He says, if you're wondering exactly any other things in regards to the previous ugliness, I am usually obliged not to tell you, but Lord Whitestone insisted that you know, considering that you dealt with his son's spirit. We found the culprit.
Oh? Would it... Anyone well known?
No. An individual by the name of Rodney Stone. We found him hanging from a rope tied to a ceiling when we got to his address. As far as we know, he was a miner who had lost his job recently. We assume at the moment that he blames the nobility for his lack of employment and decided to lash out. Ultimately, it's quite clear that he was remarkably unstable, but that's all we have to work on at the moment. Lord Whitestone he's not doing too well in this regard. I think decision has been made that he's going to be stepping down from the position for a time, and Baroness Cassandra Summerborn is going to be taking his place while he takes a sabbatical and sees his son in Drumnick.
I know her. I know everyone in politics, really.
Yeah, Cassandra Summerborn is basically just a young up-and-comer, rather egotistical in regards to her own function. But as from what people have noticed, she doesn't do a terrible job, so really there was not much else that could be done. But yeah, Larson just kind of picks up his helmet again and says, "Thank you for what you've done in service of the city. I suppose I should be heading back out."
Thank you for delivering the news.
Absolutely. And he does kind of the Roman salute, clank with the plate mail, and then just trudges on out. Door closing behind him. Clunk.
Sho is seething.
Do I have to roll an insight check to see that he's upset?
Once again, I'm making no effort to hide this. I am enraged.
Hikan tilts his head and is like, "Why the long face?"
Sho snaps his eyes over at Hikan. At the only time where he's actually full rage.
Like, Tyrina puts a hand on Hikan's shoulder and, like, slowly backs him away. It's like, best to give him space, friendo.
I think Renji and Lord Simeon will join the others at this time.
Yep.
Everything going all right here?
I don't know. Sho's angry.
Sho? You okay? Sho?
Hello?
Hey, you there?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
now.
we can hear you now.
Ah, right, alright. Sorry, I guess my mic cut out. Yeah, he very abruptly leaves saying, "I'm going to the castle." Just stomps away.
Take care. I'll have your companions update you on your next task when you're ready, and
He's already gone.
There's a slamming of the door, and Simeon just, like, shoulders droop slightly. So, oh. Well,
Sorry, have roles been reversed? Is Sho the bratty teenager now?
Terry just looks over to Renji and says, I think the best thing to do is to not go any further with that line of inquiry. It was to do with our ghost friend.
Oh.
Yeah. Any
news then?
I'll update you in a sec.
Oh, right.
And Lord Simeon goes, I suppose Sho will have to get the briefing from the rest of you. I have a task for all of you. If you would be willing to join me in the dining room for a brief period where I can explain in further detail. This is one of my ones, not a request on behalf of the city.
Well, that seems interesting.
Okay, so he pulls you all into the dining room and sits down a second and says, well, this would be the first opportunity I would have had in order to have you go out and find a precious bit of history for us in service of your employment under my name. How many of you are aware of the ruins that usually populate Hyrule Field, of towns that have been lost to time?
Well, to be fair, I've not been out of Hyrule Castle Town that much.
Given that Hikan has traveled a little bit, what would I roll to see if I've even understand what he's talking about?
I'd say make a I'd say make a general intelligence check, but with advantage.
Max
you've
has
been
also
wandering
done quite a bit of wandering.
11!
Yeah, so
Oh, wow.
Can I also?
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I was wandering with you, so.
10. I saw some rocks.
19.
Okay. Hikan and Max, there have been ruins, but none of them have really stuck out for the most part. Ziden, you have seen a variety of different ruins, each of them having, seeming much older than what you would expect them to be. Because most of the ruins that populate Hyrule Castle Town, or populate Hyrule Field, I should say, are actually fairly young because of the Civil War, but some of these other places are much older. And potentially have extra bits of history to prior to the war. Yeah, there's a fair few that Simeon might be referencing.
Ziden will just nod along then and let him continue.
Okay. He says, well, there is a town to the south, a fair distance south, actually, almost as far south as Mazro Village. It was a place believed to be one of the original attempts at founding a society in Hyrule, supposedly after humanity descended from the sky and returned to the surface. It's called the Echo of Hylia, and because it has so much to do with Hylia, a lot of Hylia worshipping pilgrims will typically head in that direction every so often in order to fill some kind of pilgrimage. That place, if it is as old as it says it is, if you can find any pertaining information in regards to, say, scriptures or iconography or anything that might be useful, then please bring it back and we'll be able to research it, possibly piece another thing of the puzzle together. And of course, you will be repaid handsomely.
Very well. Sounds interesting.
Good, good. Anybody else have any questions at all?
Hikan shakes his head. Yeah.
Renji just shrugs.
Do you know much about what might be dangerous in that area?
Well, other than bokoblins and moblins and bandits, oh my, I suppose a good place to, a good amount of things might be, say, spiders, hostile plant life. I think that would be about it in that direction.
I suppose we can deal with spiders and plant life in our own means.
Yes, yes indeed.
I mean, we have spiders and we have fire.
And that is why I employ you. Well, I suppose if you have no other questions, then feel free to go about it. If you can, I believe the pilgrims have already made their way down there, so they might still be there when you arrive. I'm sure that if you ask them appropriately, they wouldn't mind you taking 1 or 2 artifacts. But if they do raise a fuss, just have them speak to me, and I will do my best to assuade them. Yeah.
Taking artifacts, you say?
Yes. I say artifacts, nothing too outlandish. Basically, pieces of history that would allow me to just reconstruct the history of Hyrule.
Well, it would always be nice to see what they are. Perhaps not take them, but simply learn of them.
Yes, indeed. Well, I suppose that's it, really. As said, feel free to leave whenever you like. And Tony says, okay, that's perfectly fine. And she stands up and says, we'll wait for Sho, I think. At least that would be a good idea.
I think I should look for him at the castle. This doesn't seem like him.
Meanwhile, with Sho, you've stormed your way back to the castle. You've gone through the gates. You haven't even bothered to show them your rite of passage. But then again, they probably have seen you already, so they don't really care. And you are trudging away much faster up.
I am trying to find Master Alea because I need someone to fight.
Very well then.
I know I'm gonna get bodied, but I need someone to vent for a bit, and the only way I know how is by fighting.
As you're wandering past, you kind of turn a corner and almost bump into Impa as she stands there and goes, "Oh, hello, Master Sho."
Hello, Impa. Have you seen Master Alea anymore?
Master Alea is currently busy at the moment, but if you're having that kind of disposition, then you'll be speaking to me. What's wrong?
I wish to spar. I'm not in the most pleasant of...
Okay, come with me. And she leads you to a court, like an open area, and kind of turns around and says, well, draw your weapon.
Is she gonna kick his ass?
Impa's younger than me, so...
She's gonna kick his ass.
Yeah, yep.
But out of all of us Sheikah, she's the only one that survives, so, I mean...
You don't know that.
You don't know that. You could be off screen.
That's true.
Off screen.
All of us could be Impa in a trench coat.
Actually, Ziden could be on screen. Plenty.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a bear.
Wolfos.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, surprise, he's a Wolfos.
He's that Scotty dog that runs around Hyrule Castle Town.
Yeah! Activate
Just
the
got
arc.
senile in his old age.
That is terrifying.
He activates the Arc Druid and, like, turns into a dog and forgets to turn back and just is a dog.
But yeah, so she kind of draws a short sword from behind her and drops into a stance. Says, "Would you like to go first, or should I?"
Come at me.
Okay. She rushes forward and she's gonna attack you. With her 2 attacks. Getting a crit fail on the first one, but a 24 on the next one.
I'm like, this is scary. So the second one hits.
Yeah, so make a Constitution saving throw. Take your 9 piercing damage, and then Constitution saving throw.
I would thought she'd at least, not using her poisoned weapons in this friendly training, but okay.
He asked for this.
I asked for this.
Are you dead?
Well, you got an 11. I'm guessing you're a wizard, so you're not.
Okay, so
proficient in
that first
Constitution.
hit took me down to 12, and half 27 is 13. So I'm down in one hit.
She just kind of like disappears. Like she does a trick of throwing a Deku nut at the ground, blinding you, and then the next thing you know, by the time you actually come to, several minutes have passed. Renji and Impa, they're both standing over Sho as you come to. Your wounds all patched up and the poison having removed. And it's like
Renji does look very worried at this.
he needed to vent steam.
And so you knocked him out?
He asked for it.
Master
I-
Impa, this...
I did ask for it.
You're an idiot, Sho.
And that's coming from Renji.
I know idiots when I see it.
As Master Impa said, just needed to vent a little.
This is not the right way of going about that, Sho.
I'm gonna have to agree with Renji on this one. It is not the right way to go about things. So,
Renji's jaw drops as he just motions to Impa and looks at Sho.
And then motions to his injury from her weapon.
Probably the most straight-laced of all the Sheikah retainers, agreeing with Renji. Ah!
yeah, she kind of just says, and before the ego gets to him, how about the three of us find a nice place to sit in the shade and talk about what's happened?
Talk
Fine.
about your feelings.
Shut up, Druid.
You're not even here.
Talk about your feelings. No!
Then the Hyrule Castle physician comes down and says, yes, let's talk about our feelings, shall we?
No! Let's not talk about our feelings.
Well, that's exactly what needs to happen.
I found
He
the light
has
my
a
feelings.
Snow Peak accent. Yes, let's talk about this accident.
Let us talk about this accent for a moment.
Yes.
Is it German? Is it French? Who knows?
Who knows? And then, like, Impa just looks aside. Not now, Dr. Mordo. It's very well, very well. And just
So is
like
it
he
Snow Peak
glides
Ghost,
off
then?
screen. Yeah,
He just Nosferatu's away.
yeah. Impa offers a hand to pull you up, Sho.
Sho takes it.
Yeah, pulls you on your feet. Says, so, shade and talking.
Yeah.
They find an appropriate tree, sits down, or kneels down, kind of in a very stoic, statuesque manner, and
Renji is actually going to eat the second good berry now.
says, so what's gotten you into a mood that you needed to fight something?
Or, get knocked unconscious.
And she doesn't even say anything, just holds up one finger to Renji.
And Renji falls silent.
We're aware of the incident involving this white stuff.
I have been made aware.
The culprit has been found.
Mm-hmm.
Sho's like gripping he's like clenching his fist, white knuckles. It's like pathetic. They didn't even bother to stay alive long and face justice like a normal person.
And that's the kicker. Why do you suppose people would take their own lives? What core emotions do you think run through their head when they want to take their own lives like that?
They have not the stomach.
No. There's a chorus of emotions that go through someone's head when they are at the very final stage of their despair. They could be scared. They could be angry. They could be utterly distraught. And now I'm not trying to generate sympathy for whoever did this and decided to take their own life, but they were not in a position by which they were able to truly think with clarity. To be honest, I don't think anybody who is consumed with revenge can think with any utmost clarity.
An innocent boy is dead.
And I am aware of this. And I am aware that there are going to be people out there who get away with bad things. It sucks. I know it sucks. There are plenty of instances where I wish I could step in and do something, take things into my own hands, but if everybody did that, everything would just fall apart. And those who do supposedly get away with that, well, let me put it to you this way. If this guy took his own life, that must have meant that he was going through hell in his own way, before and after he took Rodney's life. He gave himself his own punishment, and I can't even say what happens in the next life. I don't know whether or not he's been taken into the arms of Etheria, or if he's been dragged by the claws of Evilus. It's unknown. But let me ask you this. What did you do for Marcus?
What?
What did you do for Marcus?
Body and spirit.
Mm-hmm.
To go on without any regrets.
Mm-hmm. You helped a young man rest in peace. You brought the truth of their beautiful emotions to light. Now, I don't know about you, but I find it pleasing that what you have done for this instance is that you have helped him overcome something that had kept his soul on this planet longer. And I know it's not what you probably want to hear, that you wanted him to come back, or that you wanted him to be able to see or know that the person who did this horrible thing to him has been brought down, but you still did good for him. You still helped him. And I'm pretty sure you helped Paul as well. You allowed a spirit to find its peace, and you allowed a man who had been worried sick to find some closure, even though it was painful for him. And you saved his business. And it's through your efforts of helping find the body and alert the guards and alert Larson that you have ultimately brought an end to the case. From what I understand at the moment, that this Rodney guy, he had, definitely past tense, before his death, he had a wife and a child. So they're looking for them now, and no, they're not going to put them in jail as recompense for what Rodney did. They're just going to see if they can find them and make sure they're okay. But the point is, the way to make things like this right isn't immediately finding and slaying the person responsible. Part of this helping people thing that you're currently doing is also taking care of the other aspects, healing the other wounds, easing the other minds. Because I can tell you for one thing, carrying out brutal justice is not a cure-all.
Do not mistake me for some vigilante. just wish for him to rot in a cell. Face justice like anyone should.
And that's fair. And I get that. And I get that it frustrates you that it's not happening. But you just need to make sure that if anything like that happens again, that you know not to lose your head. Because I can see the path that this might lead down. I know you want them to lead into rot in a cell, but what happens when rotting in a cell isn't good enough, you know? And I know you're probably thinking that you can take care of yourself in that manner, but I still have to say it.
Look at the situation I find myself. Reprimanded by a child.
She smiles and says, well, it might not be the type of help that you want, but it's the type of help I'm willing to give. And I'm pretty sure that Nihilus would probably say the same thing. Alea wouldn't have been as merciful as I was, and Zelish probably would have other things to do. So you got me.
Zalish would have turned you into a toad.
Now, Toad's being merciful.
Okay, a newt.
Now, I'm thinking somewhere on the lines of, probably turn him into a choo-choo, honestly.
We've killed those.
Enough, you infantiles.
Not gonna lie, I forgot that choo-choos were globs for a second and thought, you know, she meant train, and I was like, this isn't Spider Tracks.
You're just gonna turn the Angry Samurai into a train.
Also, Master
I have a
Rimpa.
Yu-Gi-Oh card for that.
Oh no.
Master Rimpa,
Yeah.
we should really have some have a good old-fashioned game night.
A game night.
Yeah, I have some dice. I'd love to see your skills.
Well, if there's another period like this where Prince Rufus is not already busy with his own studies or doing other things, then perhaps. But it is only midday, and you guys also have a job to deal with.
News travels fast. I
Yes.
wonder how.
I was just thinking that you're employed, so you have to live up to your responsibilities. That's all.
You say
Fair
that,
enough.
but I'm pretty sure Nihilus knew before even Simeon even gave us.
Well, that is how Nihilus works. And she kind of stands up and says, I'll take you up on that game night another time. At the moment, I gotta make sure that Prince Rufus is still doing his homework.
Of course.
As you were. And she bows and walks off.
Renji bows as well.
And I believe that we've been doing this 2 hours. I think we'll call that a session.
Hooray.
Yeah. Excellent. So, thank you everyone very much for joining me. I have been ArticulateT, and with us tonight we have had Sho Daius being played by SteveTheSeregios,
Vengeance!
Hikan being played by Alvarance,
Have a good night.
Renji Nox, son of Nihilus Vox, being played by TheNetherlad.
Goodbye.
We've had Ziden Shari being played by RoboPirate,
Bye bye.
and Max being played by Keastreth.
Bye.
And we'll see you all another time. Bye! You have been listening to Hyrule Chronicles, a tale in the world of Legend of Zelda using 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. I have been the GM, ArticulateT. Thank you very much for joining us. If you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a comment and share this link with everybody that you can possibly find who might enjoy Zelda or Dungeons & Dragons, or both, or neither if you want to. If you want to be up to date on these uploads, feel free to follow me at ArticulateT on Twitter, and I'm also on YouTube under the same name. But in the meantime, thank you very much for joining us, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.